Yes, yes, yes. Oh, you know what that sound means? It's time for In the Paddock F1, Greeny and the Cheese. Oh, yes, we are back in the land of fire, in the city of winds. That's right, folks, we're back in Azerbaijan, on the banks of the Caspian Sea, in Baku for the 5th time. Baku is the largest city on the Caspian Sea. Did you know that, Michael?
I didn't know that. I don't know much about Baku.
It is also home to 2.4 million people. And while you're there, enjoy some dining at Dalma or Firuza, or maybe party it up all night long at many of the nightclubs. Or one of my personal favorites, you gotta go have a cup of tea. The tea culture in Baku is one to experience. They serve some strong ass tea at those tea houses. And of course, any trip to Baku has to end in a trip to the Carpet Museum. Yes, let's go check out some rugs, folks.
No.
Yes, sir. Not lying. Let's check out the rug. But this is no travel show. This is an F1 show. And we're racing at the Baku Street Circuit. 3.73 miles, 20 turns, 2 DRS zones, 3 distinct different sectors, speeds over 200 miles an hour down that main front straight. You give it the full beans for 63% of your lap. And what a race we saw today. In the city of winds, the Red Bulls just blew away the competition. Perez beat Leclerc to turn 1, and then things went just horribly, horribly wrong for the Ferraris with a double DNF. Max gets the win after team orders telling Perez not to fight back. Perez gets second, Russell third. There was even gaffer tape out there today. We're caffeinated, we're medicated. Greeny, good evening, sir.
Hickory, dickory, dock. Ferrari once again is on the clock. Baku, you blew. Oh, a double DNF for you. Hickory, dickory, dock. But don't feel sad, and while Red Bull is glad that Ferrari's engines have problems, Max got the tires, and Checo's on fire. Maranello ain't home to the 5th column. So pack up the kids, pack up the wife. Baku was clearly not the time of your life. No worries, but soon you'll be over the moon because AI is finally sentient. Sentient. I lost my opening. I mean, did you see that? You see that Google AI sentient? I think you should work for Ferrari. He needs a job. Get paid. AI, it's the future. The future's here.
I thought you'd like that rug museum.
The rug museum. Come on. Come on. That's some... Listen. That is cheese research at its finest. Going all the way in. He's got the nightclubs, the tea shops, and oh yeah, the rug museum. Greeny the Cheese in the Paddock F1. Baku has finally arrived. And what a race it was. Maybe not so for the fans at Maranello or the team at Maranello and the fans of Ferrari all around the world who had to suffer through an early exit from Carlos Sainz. And then it got worse. It got worse as Charles Leclerc's the smoke covered the whole track. It was a rough day for Ferrari fans. It was a great day for Red Bull fans and Max fans as well. And a pretty good day for Ferrari fans. Not a bad day for AlphaTauri fans. Good day for a lot of teams, but not if you had a Ferrari engine. Cheese, how are you?
I'm fine. Ferrari's got a lot of problems. A lot of problems. Reliability that they seem to have covered at the beginning of the year has just gone completely out the window. Gone. Trashed. That's 2 engines for Leclerc in 3 races. So here comes the penalties down the road because they're definitely going
going to go over the limit for the engines you're allocated for the season.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a lot of problems. Red Bull looks fantastic. Red Bull looks fantastic. The only chink in their armor is the DRS mechanism on the rear wing. It's about the only chink they got going right now.
Yeah, but that really seems to be a theme this year almost, because it looked like Yuki Tsunoda had the same issue, and we had that issue earlier with Max Verstappen. In where did he get stuck?
Spain.
I forget, a couple races ago, but yeah, in Spain. I apologize, in Spain. So yeah, that damn the downforce resistance, man. You know, it's not like you're low enough to the ground already, but still, Red Bull just looks phenomenal right now. I mean, listen, that straight, that third sector going down all the way to turn one is just a great sector for Red Bull, and they showed their mettle there. But Ferrari, I don't know if they stayed in the race what it would be. I'm assuming there would definitely be at least one Ferrari on the podium. Well, if they both stayed in it.
If Ferrari would have stayed in the race, they would have been the top four, Red Bull and Ferrari, because they were far and above, quicker than anybody else. I mean, it wasn't even a race. Absolutely. I mean, it wasn't even a race outside of those out of those two teams, to be honest. I mean, everybody else is like miles behind. There's a lot of work to do outside of the top two cars, besides, Ferrari needing to do a lot of work on their reliability at this point in time. But by far and away, if they finish the race, Ferraris and the Red Bulls are the fastest cars out there. Nobody else is even close. Not even close. I mean, you can see that was clear. Baku did. Absolutely clear. I mean, everybody else is miles behind. Everybody else is fighting over the rest of the bits.
Absolutely,
I mean,
absolutely,
pretty much.
We've seen that great variety this year of all the other teams, the other 8 teams, kind of picking off points at different times. We had Aston Martin, in the points this time, and they couldn't even get out of Q1 and couldn't even make the top 14. Barely made points, and now all of a sudden they came up with some upgrades, and Sebastian Vettel looked great out there. Didn't look like old Vettel, but definitely drove probably his best race of the year. Danny Ricciardo and McLaren and looked much better. Danny actually showed up to the track this week and beat out Lando. So it was definitely, you're looking at the other 8 teams smattered throughout the season.
They're fighting over everything else. I mean, it's all between Red Bull and Ferrari.
Absolutely.
Ferrari's got to get their act together. Ferrari's got to get their act together. Otherwise, it's going to be a Red Bull runaway, and it's going to be locked up end of the summer. To be honest, the way it's going right now, you're supposed to be going into your things are supposed to be settled by this point in the season. You're supposed to be kind of settled, and you got a reliable car. You're starting to get, your aero packages and everything working well. It's the middle of the season. It's the nitty gritty. It's going to be the main European stretch of the season. This is where everybody gets going, and you do not want to be on the back foot going into this part of the season. And Ferrari is massively on the back foot right now. Massively on the back foot.
Yeah, I mean, look at the luck and you look at the great start that Ferrari had, and thank goodness for them they had that great start, because where would they be if they didn't have that great start at the beginning of the season? Because Max and Red Bull have been dominant over the last 4 or 5 races. They've been absolutely dominant. They're dominant in the straightaways. Ferrari still has more in the turns, but they're dominant in the straightaways. They're just becoming the better car, and the stuff that Ferrari should be better at, the speed in the straightaways. Red Bull's outclassing them at every turn right now. Now, we saw it last year with Red Bull and Mercedes, or at least Max and Lewis last year, where Max definitely outclassed Lewis in the first half of the season, and Lewis obviously made a huge comeback and came down to the wire. And I don't see why Charles Leclerc can't do that in his Ferrari. But at the moment, the reliability issue on the Ferrari and everything that went down, and everything that went down over the last few races, especially in Monaco. I mean, Charles had to win Monaco. That was his on a silver platter, and that's his home track, and he didn't take it, and that was just a bad sign. For me, that was a bad sign. I think for you, that was a bad sign too, coming off of Monaco when he wasn't able to finish that race. What is he able to make podium after being on pole? And that's pretty tough to do when you're driving in Monaco. Especially everything we saw this year with Alonso getting stuck behind Hamilton and yada yada yada. But yeah, bad luck as well as some bad performance, and we're having another one of those Ferrari seasons where we're really excited. It reminds me of the Vettel Hamilton chase back in, what was that, 15, 16, something like that, where Vettel was right there and Ferrari was right there, and then just reliability issues the whole second half of the season. Right. And we're seeing that early. You don't want to see that from Ferrari. There should be a much superior car than they had the last several years. And it's digressing as we go instead of getting better as other cars are. I mean, Aston Martin is one and Mercedes is another. They're making improvements and they're getting better, and Ferrari's getting worse. And to me, that's the biggest red flag, that your team is getting worse. McLaren's getting better every week. These teams are getting better race to race. They're making improvements. They're making upgrades. And I don't know what Ferrari's doing, but they're definitely running on ice skates. And they're going backwards. And that's not where you want to be. Not 7-8 races into the season. You don't want to be in this position here, especially going into the European circuit, especially heading into Canada and then Silverstone. You want to really be at your best right now, and they are at their worst. And they're looking at grid penalties, and they're looking at it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare,
an absolute nightmare.
And no other way to put it. I try to be soft on it. And obviously,
it's all falling apart. It's all falling apart.
It's way worse than the double DNF. The double DNF, it's way worse than that. And for those Ferrari fans that are like, oh, it's a double DNF, they'll come back in Canada. They got a good shot at Silverstone. The car's built for really should be great in Canada. I mean, it's kind of designed for a track like that. But who knows? Who knows if they're where they're going to start? Who knows what kind of grid penalties they're going to get? Who knows what their engine's going to be like? The last time you saw them, they're both engines. It's preposterous that they started out so hot, that the preseason was so good, and now they just look like a joke. And
it's like a donkey.
It's back to the donkey. It's back to the 2019 red donkey, and that's not good. That's not what Ferrari fans want to see. That's not what the Tifosi wants to see. That's not what they want to see out of Maranello. And all the credit to Red Bull. All the credit to Red Bull. All the credit to Mercedes as well for keep battling. George Russell for continuously battling, continuously making podiums, even though it's a lot of thirds, but still he's getting on the podium. And I got to be impressed with those teams. Two teams taking a step forward in Mercedes and Red Bull, and Ferrari taking a step back. And Ferrari's got to be looking in the rearview mirror now at Mercedes instead of frontward at Red Bull. Unbelievable. You knew it, though. You had the mojo. Or the juju.
I told you. There was bad juju in the air. I had the feeling Saturday night. There's bad juju in the air. In my gut. Woke up in the morning. There's bad juju in the air. I know. I just had the bad juju feeling. It's been building.
Yeah, but give it up. Give it up for Max Verstappen. Give it up for Max Verstappen once again. He is driving like a champion once again. And I think putting to rest at least some, if not all, not most, but some of the criticism from his championship in 2021. And some of the way the 2021 season ended. I think he's really starting to put that to rest. But we, sir, have a lot more to talk about. A lot more Ferraris to trash, a lot more Red Bulls to praise, and all kinds of other stuff in between. Of course, we are on YouTube, Greeny and the Cheese. We're going to have lots more content coming up this summer. If you haven't checked out the content we got so far, we also are on Twitter at In the Paddock USA. Hit us up on Gmail, inthepaddock@gmail. Send us your questions. Send us your nonsense. We'd love to hear it. Greeny and the Cheese in the Paddock F1. Back after this. Oh, yeah. We are back, ready to cheese in the paddock. F1. A little hesitant here. Get in the cockpit. I have no idea what kind of questions you're going to ask this week. I mean, Azerbaijan, this is only the 5th time we've raced here in the Formula One circuit. Although that might be question number 1. 2016 was the European Championship, not F1. So in 2020 we missed. But I'm curious to see what kind of tricks you got in the hat there. So, sir, as usual, as always, in the second segment, I turn it over to you as I put my helmet on and get my little feet, slide them into the car, and take a lap around your madness, because it is QuizMasters Cockpit.
Well, thank you very much for that lovely introduction, sir. It is time for the QuizMasters Cockpit. And as decreed earlier in the season, how you do will lead us into our following segment after that. So let's see how you do this week. And you were actually correct. Including today. How many times have we raced in Baku?
In the Formula One, it's 5.
Correct. That is, yes.
Even though I believe they said on the broadcast 6, but we missed 2020.
That is correct. It's 5.
We didn't race in 2020. They said it twice on the broadcast.
That was incorrect.
6 winners in 6 years, but that is incorrect.
That is incorrect.
The broadcast was incorrect. We've only raced 5 times. So, Bing. Orders up.
Question 2.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to steal your thunder.
It's okay.
It was just an honest probing question, but it turned out to be the question. Number 2, go.
What driver has multiple victories in Baku?
Driver has multiple victories. Oh, it's a trick question. Shoot. Because the 2016 European champ. Who the heck won the 2016 European champion?
No, only the races in the Formula One.
No, we've had 5 winners in 5 years.
That is correct, sir. There has been no driver.
Oh, you trick question. I was like, what did I miss? I'm pretty sure we had 5 different winners.
We're gonna throw a little monkey in the wrist there, sir. We're gonna throw a little monkey in the wrist there for you. We're trying to trick you up.
Very sneaky.
Do not take the bait. Very sneaky. Very
sneaky.
So that is 2 purple sectors.
Wow.
Can you go back to back?
And a belly to belly.
Winner chicken dinners. By the way, you need to ring the bell, sir, for number 2. Because that was correct.
Oh. There's the
question 3. And it all comes down to this. Who won the first Azerbaijan Grand Prix?
Oh, the man who was driving the same vehicle, not the same vehicle, but from the same team. And the man who's actually scored points for once, and that is 2017 Danny Ricciardo.
That is
I'm not going to wait for you
correct.
because I know that was correct. I knew that was correct.
That is correct.
Danny won the inaugural 2017 in Formula One. In Azerbaijan.
That is a hot lap. That is a hot lap.
Wow.
That is a winner chicken dinner.
Wow.
2 races in a row. We're going to have to really give you the humdinger next week.
Well, they've been racing in Silverstone since 1950. So I think you might have some more questions.
We're not going to Silverstone this coming Sunday.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's Canada. Canada next in Silverstone.
We are going to Montreal.
I think there's probably a few more questions and 5 races that you can ask from. But no, those are good questions.
Because we are gonna give you a humdinger because you have to give it. It's got to be a tough test to get 3 weeks.
Oh, it should be. I'm expecting the next 2 shows Canada's going to be like probably medium to difficult, but Silverson, you got to start working on questions now.
Oh, don't you worry. I'll have stuff for you. You know my impeccable research.
Yeah, I will go from purple sectors to
you were
like the Ferraris, black smoke. I might be.
You were not finding out about no carpet museum in Baku.
I knew no carpet museum in Baku. I knew nothing about Azerbaijan as Baku is the most populous city on the Caspian Sea. This is all news to me. But of course, leave it to Cheese to bring the goods every single week.
But since you were a winner this week in the Quizmasters Cockpit.
Yes.
That'll take us into winners in our winners and losers segment. And I'm going to give you my first winner. We're going to give it up for Seb. 6th place finish.
Absolutely.
Actually probably could have finished higher if he didn't lock it up there heading into 3 and having to do that just pretty ridiculous car skill. Just right into that encove there and bang that spin around real quick to get back out there. But we're going to give it up for Seb for finishing 6th. We're going to give it up to a show favorite, and that is Danny Ricciardo. With an 8th place finish, getting the points. Danny has been in the news recently as possibly McLaren trying to get him out of that seat. So Danny needs to start putting the pedal down and getting some point finishes. So that is a good finish for Danny. Also finishing in front of Lando there for Danny, so that's definitely almost like a double bonus for him. And we'll give it up for the ageless wonder, Fernando Alonso. It's another 7th place finish, another top 10. The man's ridiculous. Plain and simple. Absolute Formula One legend. Just keeps going even at this age. And those will be my winners, sir. What you got?
First of all, I'm going to have to give it up once again to Mercedes. Listen, Merc has been consistent. You got a 3-4 out of Russell and Hamilton. Russ once again on the podium, and they're starting to creep. And like I don't know what the up-to-date point standings are, but they're definitely looking better than Ferrari at the moment. And especially over the last couple of races. But Russell and Hamilton, both of them, just great days for them. Mercedes won't back down. They keep coming, and maybe they'll have some upgrades, and maybe they'll do something in the second half. I can't imagine them winning races or competing for the title, but maybe competing for second this season. Maybe after yesterday. And Pierre Gasly, hello. He's like loving Baku. Podium last year, 5th place this year. He had a good race. He had a really good race today. And so give it up to Pierre Gasly, especially with his teammate there. Not doing so great. And that's really all I got.
That's all right.
Lando Norris, got to give it up for Lando as well. Lando definitely, again, finishing 9th. Behind Danny. He should have passed Danny if he didn't get the call to not pass Danny. I don't know what was going on there. They want to throw Danny to the curb, and then it's like, but don't pass him. Like, I don't know. I don't know what was going on there, but give it up to Lando, at least getting some points on the board. McLaren's looking better and better, and those are my winners for the week.
All right, so that'll take us into losers. My first loser would be Zhao. I mean, if this kid didn't have bad luck, he wouldn't have any luck at all. I mean, how many races has this kid actually finished? Kid has just nothing but bad luck. Constant.
Yeah, he was up there.
Constant mechanical failures. Just another rough weekend for him. Another loser will be Lance Stroll. He pretty much had an awful
weekend.
A full-blown awful weekend. Awful weekend.
Not even just a bad race. He had an awful weekend.
Awful weekend.
Well, weekend.
Yeah, entire weekend was pretty much straight trash, to put it honestly. Straight trash. And I'm going to say Haas, too. K-Mag DNF. Mick 14th. Not good enough. Not good enough. Haas has gone from the hottest start that they were having, looking impressive, back to looking like trash. And I'll let you take it from there, sir.
Where's Conor McGregor when you need him? I gotta get that sound clip. I'm here for Haas. Haas Racing. Are you? Really? Are you still there? Is Conor McGregor still rooting for Haas?
Our car's fresher. There's a storm brewing. There's a storm brewing.
Is there? Yeah, there's a real storm brewing there with Haas. Yeah, where am I gonna go here? My big loser of the week, it's got to be Nicholas Latifi. He couldn't even park his car to start the race. He had the mechanics coming out, screwing. What do you get, a 10-second penalty? What a mess! What a mess that was. The guy couldn't even park his car. You're a loser. And where else am I gonna go? I mean, besides Ferrari and Ferrari's engines, anyone with a Ferrari engine is just a loser this week, because that was a rough time for Ferrari engines overall with the Haas and both Ferrari. So they definitely were bursting into flames a little bit more than they would like there. And those are my losers for the week. Not a terrible amount of losers, but a lot of teams are coming on the up right now. Aston Martin and McLaren are both on our losers list every week, and now they both had great weeks. So, and it was engine problems. I mean, Zhou, it wasn't his fault. I mean, I don't know if he did anything to the car.
He's had wrong. How many DNFs has he had from mechanical failures?
I can go back through pretty much every race.
Almost just about. So,
I don't know if it's him, it's the way he's driving his car, the car itself. Bottas doesn't make him look much better, because Bottas is having a phenomenal season in that Alfa Romeo. So, which brings us to, of course,
I need to slap my goddamn tail for that.
Oh yeah,
someone's gonna get slapped.
Get out that baby powder. Get that hand full. And this week's winner, he gets some slap them damn selves, is AlphaTauri. Wing on Yuki Tsunoda's car breaks. And what do? You bring him in the pits, you change the tires, then you bust out the gaffer tape and tape the thing back together. You didn't even tell your driver this happened. So when he finally let him go, and he's going down and he's screaming on the radio, what the hell's going on? So you didn't even tell your driver that there was an issue. You throw on gaffer tape to a broken wing that if that, breaks apart on the track, can cause another driver to wreck if there's somebody behind him. Cause the driver to hit it, blow a tire, especially at the speeds that they're traveling down the front straightaway at Baku. I mean, it's a safety hazard. You had an F1 official come running down when they were releasing the car. It was outer madness. You're bringing out gaffer tape.
Hold on. On this side of the pond, we call it duct tape, okay? First and foremost. Second of all, that fixes everything. It's duct tape. It fixes everything. I could put a house together. You've seen those guys on TV with the holes in the boats, and they put the duct tape on there, or the gaffer tape on there, and then they go in the ocean with it. That fixes everything. I don't see anything wrong with that. It held together. The guy finished the race better than a lot of the 5 of the other drivers who couldn't finish. At least Yuki finished. I mean, he ended up, starting top 10, right, but then out of the points because he finished 13th. But man finished with duct tape on his car. I don't think I've seen plenty of cars with duct tape on.
Tape
I've never seen any
better. Gaffer tape sounds better.
It's duct tape.
It's gaffer tape.
No one knows on this side of the pond what gaffer tape is, and no one knows on the other side of the pond what duct tape is.
Everybody knows what gaffer tape is. Everybody knows what it is.
Anyway, I think it's heroic, but I get it. Again, it's going to be something better, and I think F1 fans and F1 anyone in the mechanic world.
To be honest, it was kind of embarrassing. It was kind of embarrassing to see that. To be honest,
I had duct tape on my car at one point. It held for like 6 months, and the bottom flat was all broken up on the body. I taped that right under. My Toyota was good for the next 6 months. Tape that up. Yeah, but my car's no $6 million car. This is worth about $4,000. So at the time, probably a little less with the duct tape on it. Anyway, that is winners, losers, and of course, yeah, that whole garage got to slap themselves for that one. That was pretty pathetic. Funny. It's a funny joke, but yeah. It was a heck of a day for these cars. You know, they survived the desert, they survived all these rough conditions, and then you go to a pretty tepid conditions in Azerbaijan, and the cars start falling apart. Very, very interesting. But with that, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in like 20 seconds. So don't go anywhere. Greeny and the Cheese in the Paddock F1, Greeny and the Cheese at YouTube, in the Paddock USA at Twitter, in the Paddock USA at gmail.com. Hit us up any place. We'd love to hear from you guys. Greeny and the Cheese in the Paddock F1. Back after this.
I can't get it just if I
That's all over the place. Oh, yeah.
Yes. I'm back. Greeny and the Cheese in the Paddock F1. Oh, yeah, boys and girls. It's that time of the week where we take that fantasy ride to that fantasy island, Greentopia, where the beer flows like wine and the wine flows like beer, and the cannabis grows as far as the eye can see. You know what I'm talking about, Michael.
We are in Greentopia, sir.
And we take that trip to the top of the hill, just like Monaco, to that casino at the top. Tickets in hand. Are we cashing in? Or are we checking out?
Are you ready for this? So, folks, those of us who've been following us all season long, it's been I've been winning consistently enough where I ended up with about a 1,400 Greenybuck lead on Cheese. But everything changed when Cheese had a pit in his stomach on Saturday. And he had a premonition, possibly from the gods, that said, don't bet on Ferrari this week. You bet on Ferrari and you lose. And you bet on Ferrari and you lose. So you took Ferrari completely out of the equation. No red. I, on the other hand, I'll start with myself. So I was at 5,950 Greenybucks. I had Charles Leclerc to win because he should have, but he didn't even finish the race. And of course, my trifecta was Leclerc, Verstappen, and Perez. That didn't work out too well either, as Leclerc. And my biggest gainer was Bottas. Actually, we both took Bottas for the biggest gainer. And I bet my largest amount of money or Greenybucks for the season so far, 200 on Leclerc, 50 on the trifecta, went conservative, and 100 on Bottas' biggest gainer. He was +4, but he was not the biggest gainer. Do you know who the biggest gainer was of the week? It was Haas and Mick Schumacher, +6, but only because he finished the race. And so, but as far as Vegas is concerned, Mick Schumacher was the biggest gainer of the week. So therefore, every other one's engine blew up. That's the only way he got it. So, therefore, none of us got the trifecta. You, on the other hand, had Max Verstappen winning. Put 50 Greenybucks on that. That was 2.5 to 1 this week, not just a 2 to 1. You had a little bump there with Max because Leclerc was obviously the favorite at 1.7 to 1. And then you had your trifecta. Well, you had Max in first. That happened. Check. You had Sergio Perez in second. Check. And George Russell? Did you have George Russell in third, sir? Let me check the notes.
I did, sir.
It's a trifecta! 17.5 to 1, sir. Was the trifecta hitting. Are you ready? These are real numbers. All right, I just want everyone at home listening to understand that these are legit numbers. I was up by 1,400 Greenybucks. That has all changed. Right now, I have 5,600 Greenybucks. You, sir, are you ready for your total? You had 4,660 Greenybucks last week. Your total now, 5,610 Greenybucks. You're literally ahead by $10 right now. No joke.
Shut up.
No joke. There it is. If you can see it in the screen, 5,610 to 5,600 even. You have a 10 Greenybuck lead. It is even for all intents purposes, and it is on like Donkey Kong.
Wow.
It is on your back. You have salvaged your season. Unlike Ferrari, you have salvaged your season, and you are back in Greentopia, and you are challenging for your second straight Greenybucks title, as you are the reigning champ.
I do have the ring.
The charge has begun.
Wow.
The one time I go a little over betting is the time you hit the trifecta, of course. And we are all even, Steven. Picked up 1,400 Greenybucks over the course of the week. Very impressive, sir. You are back. Hopefully your team follows suit.
Yes, sir.
And there we are.
How about them apples? Stick that in your craw. Told you, just wait. Victory was coming soon.
Yes,
How
sir.
about
Victory
them
was coming soon. Listen,
them
it's a long
apples?
season. As we continue to say, this is a long season.
Yes, it
It's not going to end in short order. We have a lot going on. You are a brilliant Formula One mind. You know what's going on.
I appreciate that, sir.
I know what happened in the past. You know what's going to happen in the future. And that's what makes In the Paddock F1 such a fantastic show. But with that, the fun and games are over, sir. Because now it's your turn to strap it in. Your turn. Because it is. Life in the fast lane. The fastest 3 minutes in Formula One. Sir, are you ready for another 10
Of course
questions?
I'm ready.
Well, without further ado, here we go. 2023 seat will apparently be announced soon for Oscar Piastri. Excited for the F2 champ next year?
Absolutely. He probably should have been. He should have been in a seat this year. That's an absolute fact. So absolutely, want to see Oscar in Formula One. Next.
The F1 CEO Stefano Domenicali visited Kialami, South Africa. Are you excited for South Africa to be back in the fold in 2023?
Absolutely. It's actually a pretty fun track. I would absolutely like to see Formula One back down there. It's a really nice, really entertaining. It's a really nice circuit. I like the circuit. I think it'd be really good with the modern cars. Next.
Christian Horner is upset F1 wants to change the minimum height requirement due to porpoising, which Red Bull isn't having a problem with. Does Christian Horner have a point?
Yeah, I mean, changing rules now is a little wishy-washy, to be honest. The only thing I could say is that if drivers keep complaining of back pain and things like that, I mean, you might have to just do it just out of driver's safety concerns, to be honest. I think drivers should come first. Bottom line. Next.
Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso battled all weekend from quality to the checkered flag. How much did you enjoy seeing those two legends battle it out?
Oh, you gotta enjoy it. Former champions duking it out. It's good. It's fun. It's what you want to see. Next.
Guan Yu Zhou had bad luck again. He was battling for 8th before an engine failure. Impressed with the rookie otherwise?
Yeah, he's been driving fairly well in the Alfa Romeo. Fortunately, never can get a car reliable enough to finish races, it seems. So get that sorted out, and we'll really see what the kid's got. Next.
Lance Stroll stunk it up all weekend while his teammate thrived after Aston Martin's upgrade. What does Lance Stroll need to do to turn this season around?
Take his head out of his rear end. I mean, get a kick in the ass. He's got to get going. His teammates putting stuff up, but he's not. Next.
McLaren with double points this weekend. Is McLaren finally back?
You ask this question every couple weeks. They're back. Then the next week they're trash. Let me see some consistency first before we go anything like that. Next question.
Nicholas Latifi penalized on the starting grid after not being able to park on the line. What's the worst parking job you've ever seen?
God, to go any modern parking lot anymore. See some ridiculous stuff out there. Next.
Yuki Tsunoda had his car fixed with duct tape or gaffer tape, as you say. What's the best thing you've ever fixed with gaffer tape?
Oh, gosh. I've rigged a lot of things with gaffer tape. I can't even narrow one down. There's a lot of things.
I fixed my car, okay? I fixed my car, just like AlphaTauri. I feel very high-end now that I fixed my car, just like AlphaTauri's garage does. I feel like an F1 mechanic now that I fixed my car the same way. So, no, but seriously, that was your 3 minutes. Excellent job. Excellent job all around. And, of course, we want to thank all the fans from all around the world that continue to tune in, continue to listen. You have no idea how appreciative we are and how much we value the fact that you're spending your time with us, post-race with us. It has been just a phenomenal journey so far here in season 2, and we continue to get better and better and work harder and harder each week to bring you guys the best Formula One. Of course, if you have comments, questions, concerns, or just want to talk to us, in the paddock USA at gmail.com, in the paddock USA on Twitter, and of course check us out on YouTube, Greeny and the Cheese on YouTube. Cheese!
Yes, sir.
Finish it up.
We'll be back in 1 week's time as we head to Montreal, Canada. Wall of Champions. Don't want to be hitting that this coming weekend.
Nope.
That's for darn sure. I will see if Ferrari can get their act together with a week in between races. Yeah. 5 days, long way to travel to Canada from Baku. So we'll see what happens, but we'll see in 5 days' time, or 6 days' time, whatever the heck it is. And as always, stay medicated, my friends.
Thank you again, and we'll see you in a week. Peace.
Peace.